I know, right? I can't believe it either. I was so fortunate to acquire this cancelled release of Benny Caliper. He was supposed to be released in the 2010 Final Lap collection as a single, but unfortunately, like many other cars, he was cancelled. Now, luckily, I was able to purchase this from Brian Richardson, who's a member of the Pixar Cars Diecast Facebook community. He's an absolutely amazing guy and was so generous to sell me his cancelled release of Benny here. He bought it back in 2010 from an eBay seller for quite a bit of money because there are barely any of these in existence. According to Brian, there are less than 20 of these produced, making him one of the rarest cars Mattel has ever made. So Benny had a very minor role in the first Cars movie. He didn't have any speaking lines, but he's not technically a background character. He actually served a small purpose in the scene he was present for, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a moment here, but first, I want to read you guys his bio from the Meet the Cars book. His bio reads, Benny Caliper loves movies. He goes to the theater every chance he gets, and he loves the way a good story can take you away from all the day-to-day troubles of your life. He is currently working on his first original screenplay about a cop car that's forced to partner up with an inner-city garbage truck. It's called Trash Talking Cop. So it seems like movies and films are really his main hobby and passion in life, and it's very nice to learn a little bit more about these diecast car characters. Now, most of the characters that were given bios in the Meet the Cars book were released or were supposed to be released. Benny falls into the were supposed to be released category because, of course, he was cancelled. Now, Benny appeared during the ending credits of the first Cars movie at the drive-in movie theater alongside Mack. He was just drinking a can of oil and watching the Car-ified versions of other Disney Pixar films, which were Toy Story 1, Monsters Inc., and A Bug's Life. Since these films were Car-ified, I guess you could say, they were renamed Toy Car Story and Monster Trucks Inc. for the Cars movie. However, the name for A Bug's Life strangely remained the same. So when they showed Toy Car Story and Monster Trucks Inc., Mack complimented the actor who played Ham and Yeti. Now just to clarify, Ham is a character from Toy Story, or in this case, Toy Car Story, and Yeti is a character from Monsters Inc., or also in this case, Monster Trucks Inc. Now, despite all that, when A Bug's Life was shown, Mack finally realized they kept on using the same actor to play Ham, Yeti, and in A Bug's Life, P.T. Flea, which of course was John Ratzenberger. It's a Disney Pixar tradition to have John Ratzenberger play at least one character in each Disney Pixar film, and obviously that one character to be played by John Ratzenberger in Cars 1 was Mack. So it makes it very ironic that Mack kept on commenting on the characters who are played by the same actor he's played by. The whole point of that was to add humor to the end of the movie and leave viewers off with an uplifting feeling. So now you might ask, why are you explaining this? Well, during the entire time Mack was making those remarks about the actor John Ratzenberger, Benny was right next to him, reacting to his comments and basically saying in his head, dude, you're the same actor. So that's all for Benny's story. Now let's take a look at the car itself. So according to the Car Finder game, Benny is a Remy Runabout Men V, which is a fictional car model, so I don't have a realistic car to compare him to, but I think he'd be a smart car in real life. Now, unfortunately, Benny has a mouth plate. Mattel used these a lot from about 2008 to 2012. Fortunately, though, they don't use them anymore on their new releases, but some re-releases still have them. Now, mouth plates are basically plastic mouthpieces. As you can see there, there's a big crack that separates the main metal body from the plastic mouth plate. Now, they're not too attractive in my opinion, but on Benny here, it looks decent. On the side here, we can see his rims, which are very accurate to the movie, along with his expression looking to his left, which is where Mack would have been sitting. On the back here, we can see his license plate. His license plate reads T6ID635, but it is very, very small, so I can't even read the text above it. Nice taillights, and he does have an exhaust pipe right there. And here's the base for anyone who's interested. I bet there will be quite a few more people interested in the base of Benny because he's canceled. There's no date stamp on him because he's a pre-production sample, and those do not have date stamps. So a relatively clean base, actually. So the three cars here on the right are basically the same model as Benny. There are a few things though that make them technically different models, and I'll go into those few things in a second here. But first up is Matthew True Blue McCrew. Let's talk about the things that are different first. Obviously, different color, different expression, different rims, and Matthew does not have a license plate in the back, although there's a spot for one right there, so I have no clue why Mattel didn't actually put a license plate on him. Quite odd in my opinion. Now, none of the things that I just mentioned actually classify Matthew as a different model. What actually classifies him as a different model from Benny is the fact that he has a hole in his metal body for the flag to be inserted into, and Benny does not. So that makes them different models ever so slightly, but the rest of their features are exactly the same. So now let's take a look at Chucky, or Chucky, however you'd like her to be pronounced. Now they are also very, very similar, just different color, different expression. Chucky actually does have a license plate, and it's the exact same number as the one on Benny, but it is so small that you can barely see it's the same number. But if you see her in person, you would know that her license plate does read T6ID635. Unfortunately, Mattel tends to do that on cars that are very similar in model. Now, the thing that makes them different is the fact that Chucky was made before they started using mouth plates. As you can see, she does not have that crack that separates the mouthpiece from the rest of the body. She is one full piece. She would be considered a unibody, while Benny is a mouth plate user, I guess you could say. Now, Dash Boardman over here on the far left is basically in the same case, I guess you could say, as Matthew True Blue McCrew, because he also has a hole in his body for the camera to be inserted into. That's the only difference between him and Benny that makes them a different model from each other. Obviously though, different color, different expression. The rims are the same though. And now, let's check out Dash Boardman's license plate. It is actually different from Benny's. His reads 105D1N. Now, these three models are definitely very different from Benny, but they are kind of similar, so I would like to include them in this video. Here we have Suki. They are similar designs, but different sizes. She is from Tokyo, obviously, from her designs. Here we have Polly Puddle Jumper, who's actually the same model as Bertha Butterswagon, another canceled release. Similar in design again, but definitely different sizes. And here we have the recent release of Kim Carlin's. Again, rather similar, but they also have several differences as well. So that's it for my review of Benny Caliper. I hope you guys enjoyed. thank you very much for watching. And the big question you may be wondering is, did you get any other canceled cars? And I'm sorry to say, but you'll just have to wait and see. Now my final note for this video is, along with Benny Caliper, Dan Sklarkenberg, Kit Revster, a non-lenticular version of Wilmer Flats, Percy Handbrakes, and Bertha Butherswagen were also Final Lap Collection singles that were cancelled. But in the last few years, we've seen Kit Revster release twice, so he has been uncancelled. Same with Dan Sklarkenberg, we saw a release of him earlier this year, and the non-lenticular version of Wilmer Flats will be released in the first case of 2017, so that leaves Benny Caliper, Bertha Butherswagen, and Percy Handbrakes as the last Final Lap Collection singles that were made into prototypes but never hit retail stores. Do you think these three will be released eventually? Do you think maybe we'll see them before the debut of Cars 3 or maybe a few years afterwards? I personally hope we'll see Percy Handbrakes and Bertha Butherswagen, but at this point, I'm happy with my prototype here of Benny Caliper. So again, hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on Thursday for another review. Bye now!